Today we are going to see about human nervous system. We humans are different from other organisms because of the well-developed nervous system. And this nervous system is categorized into three types. They are the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. The central nervous system acts as the center for information processing and controlling, and it consists of brain and spinal cord. And peripheral nervous system, here it consists of all nerves. They are the cranial nerves and spinal nerves. If the nerve originates from the brain, it is named as cranial nerves because cranial is the part of the skull which protects the brain, and if the nerve originates from the spinal cord, then it is called as the spinal nerves. And this peripheral nervous system allows the different parts of the body to communicate with the central nervous system. And the next is the autonomic nervous system. This regulates the function of internal organs, and it consists of sympathetic nerves and parasympathetic nerves. So these are the types of human nervous system. First we can see about the central nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. And this brain and spinal cord are very important organ, and this brain was protected by the skull. And the spinal cord was protected by the vertebral column. Spinal cord is protected by vertebral column. And this central nervous system, both this brain and the spinal cord, is formed of two type of matter. They are the white matter and the gray matter, and it is due to the presence or absence of myelin sheath or the axon. We studied this in types of nerve fiber, that myelinated nerve fiber and non-myelinated nerve fiber. And this brain is the controlling center of all body activities, and it consists of three connective tissue membrane, which is called as the meninges. The outermost layer is membrane is called the dura mater. It will be thick. That membrane is the dura mater. And the middle is the thin vascular membrane called the arachnoid mater. And the innermost membrane is the pia mater. And it will be richly supplied with blood. And these three membranes are together called as the meninges. These three membranes, that is the meningeal membrane, protects the brain from mechanical injury. And if there is any inflammation in this meninges, we will call it as the meningitis. So meningitis is the inflammation in meninges. And the inflammation in the meninges occurs when the fluid surrounding the meninges get infected by the virus or the bacteria. And this is the brain. And this is the cerebrum, which is the largest portion of the brain. And this cerebrum, this portion was longitudinally divided into two hemispheres, that is the right cerebral hemisphere and the left cerebral hemisphere. And it was divided by the median cleft, and it was interconnected by a thick band of nerve fibers, which is called the corpus callosum. So thick band of nerve fibers are called the corpus callosum. So this is the view when we see the brain by the top. So if we cut this brain like this, and if we see, we can see different parts of the brain, and this is the lateral section of the brain. That is, if we cut the brain, it will looks like this. And this brain was categorized into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. This forebrain comprises of cerebrum and diencephalon, and the diencephalon was classified as thalamus and hypothalamus. Then the midbrain, which controls the hearing and visual, and the hindbrain, which consists of cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. So first is the forebrain. It consists of cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. So the cerebrum is the largest portion of the brain. We studied this already. And it consists of two hemispheres, and these two hemispheres was divided by the median cleft, and it was interconnected by the corpus callosum. The outer portion of this hemisphere is made of grey matter, which is called the cerebral cortex, and the inner portion is made of white matter and is called the cerebral medulla. And the other organs also, in other organs, the outer portion we will call as the cortex and the inner portion as the medulla. So in brain, the cerebrum, this outer portion of the cerebrum is the cerebral cortex and the inner portion is the cerebral medulla. And this outer cortex is made of so many foldings, extremely foldings, and in foldings, the swollen part, that folded elevations are called the gyri and the depressions are called the sulci. And the cerebral hemisphere is divisible into four lobes. That four lobes we will call as the cerebral lobes. And the lobes are frontal lobes, parietal lobes, temporal lobes, and the occipital lobes. And the functions of the cerebrum is important is learning. So for learning we have to think, our intelligent power should be good, we should be conscious in that, our memory power should be good, our imagination, our reasoning, and our willpower, that is our confidence should be good. So for all this, the cerebrum is helping. This is the function of the cerebrum. And the next part of the forebrain is the thalamus, and this thalamus is placed in cerebral medulla, that is inside the cerebral cortex, and is the conducting center of sensory and motor signaling. We studied this in type of neuron based on function. So sensory neurons means here it will carries the information from sense organs to the central nervous system, and motor means it will carries the information from central nervous system to that particular area, that is to the muscle or to the gland. And this thalamus acts as a relay center, that is it will receive and pass. So it will receive the impulses from central nervous system and it will pass this information to the muscle or to the gland. For that, this thalamus is helping. And the next part is the hypothalamus, and this hypothalamus is placed on the base of the thalamus, that is below this thalamus this hypothalamus is present. And this hypothalamus controls the involuntary functions like hunger, thirst, sleep, anger. These all are involuntary function. This will happen out of our control, that is involuntary function. And it acts as a thermoregulatory center, that is it will control the temperature of our body. It controls the anterior pituitary gland, though the pituitary gland will secrete the hormones, and this hypothalamus will control the secretion of hormones from the anterior pituitary gland. And this hypothalamus plays an important link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. So the endocrine system means the gland and all will come under endocrine system. So if the information from the nervous system goes to this gland, then only it can able to secrete the hormones. So this hypothalamus plays an important link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. This is the function of the hypothalamus. So these are all the types of parts of the forebrain. And the next is the midbrain. This midbrain is present in between this thalamus and the hindbrain, and this midbrain consists of four rounded bodies at the dorsal region, and it is known as the corpora quadrigemina, and this plays a major role in controlling the visual and the auditory reflexes. So this is about the midbrain. Next we can see about the hindbrain, and it is formed of three parts. They are the cerebellum, pons, and the medulla oblongata. This is the cerebellum, and this is the second largest part of the brain, and it consists of two large hemispheres. And in between the two hemispheres at the center there will be the vermis. And the function of the cerebellum is voluntary movements and body balance. So voluntary movements are like taking a box or kicking a ball. These are the examples of voluntary movements. And for body balance, so in drunker person we can see they can't maintain balance, they can't balance their body. This is because when they drink, their cerebellum is getting affected. That's why they are not able to balance their body. The next part of the hindbrain is the pons. This pons is the Latin word and the meaning is bridge. So this pons is the bridge of nerve fibers. This pons is completely made up of nerve fibers, and it connects the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata, and it will relay signals between cerebellum, spinal cord, midbrain, and cerebrum. Relay means receiving and passing out. So it will receive and passes the signals between these cerebellum, spinal cord, midbrain and cerebrum, and it controls respiration and sleep cycle. So its function is, so the function of the pons is controlling respiration and sleep cycle. And the next part of the hindbrain is the medulla oblongata, and it present at the posterior part of the brain, that is backside of the brain, and it will connect the spinal cord and various parts of the brain. So it will connect the spinal cord with other part of the brain, and it contains cardiac centers, respiratory centers and vasomotor centers. Here the cardiac centers will controls the heartbeat, the respiratory centers will controls respiration, and vasomotor centers will controls the contraction of blood vessels. It also regulates vomiting and salivation. So the function of the medulla oblongata is controlling heartbeat, respiration and contraction of blood vessels, and also regulating vomit and salivation. These are the functions of the medulla oblongata. So here we saw about the brain and the parts of the brain.